All right, good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday. It's great to be here. Actually talking to people one-on-one. I'd like to call the July 15th, 2021 meeting to order. We do have a quorum. We have our WebEx attendees. Todd Skinner is sitting in for Ricky Erickson, and we also have Laura Dutton. In person, we've got Joe Arfano, we've got Stephen Datz, and then Rob Zamatero is sitting in for Haibu. Julie Davis is representing OGC, and Lori Whitmer is representing Budget. Do we have any public comment before we get started, or any emails that came in, Cecil?
No public comments at this time, Jenny.
Okay, perfect. And do we have any public comment on the phone regarding today's agenda? All right, we will get started. We have items 1 through 4, and they have all been reviewed by Procurement and Budget and are ready for the Awards Committee review. We will, just for those who are sitting in, I will kind of give you the lowdown on how this works. We will go over each item. I'll ask if there's any questions or comments. If not, I'll ask for a motion and a second, and then I'll roll call through the committee members to get their individual approvals. So we'll start with the meeting minutes from July 8th. Do we have any questions or comments on those? All right, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Stephen, and can I get a second?
Joe Arfano, second.
Thank you, Joe. We'll roll call through the committee to approve the meeting minutes from July 8th, starting with Stephen Datz.
Approved.
Joe Arfano.
Approved.
Rob Zamatero.
Approved.
Laura Dutton.
Approved.
And Todd Skinner.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 2 is a proposal. This is for our owner advisory services for the water wastewater capital improvement plan. This is to provide owner advisory services for traditional and collaborative delivery capital improvement projects for the water and wastewater group. Marsh Wagner Inc. is our recommended awardee in the amount of $4,609,800. This is a 3-year award with 2 one-year, optional renewals. I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the low participation. We had one proposal that we received, and so when we contacted the other 6 that attended the mandatory pre-proposal meeting that didn't submit, the reasons for not submitting was the non-compete requirement that we put in the solicitation document. So part of the scope of work for this includes a detailed review of budgets and scopes for the capital improvement plan, and the selected companies will be advising JEA during negotiations with engineers and construction firms for our various projects. And so we deemed it important to include the provision that the selected company may not be contracted for design or construction on any projects currently with our capital plan. Marsh Wagner has been doing some of this under Jacobs as a subcontractor for the past 2 years. They've been doing a very great job. And so we're comfortable moving forward with them. When we compare their hourly rates, they're actually 5% lower because we're not paying the subcontractor markup. So any questions or comments on this one? All right, I will ask.
Are we ultimately, and maybe Rob can address this, are we ultimately going to bring this function in-house?
Brian is online, and he can probably answer. I know they've requested additional staff, and I don't know if this is part of that functionality. Brian, are you online?
Yeah. This is Brian. So the reason we are contracting out with them is we don't have the experience right now in order to be able to handle some of these CMAR and progressive design build projects. They're relatively new to JEA. Part of this contract is to get us up to speed and educated on these so that eventually we'll be able to handle this ourselves.
The other thing is the 2 nice things that I liked about this was Jenny had mentioned it was the non-compete.
Yeah.
You don't have the fox guard in the hen house.
Yeah.
And so, and you're not paying a sub of a sub. So reduced our fees, and we've kind of gotten out. So this was needed, a needed contract, so.
So we would have done it subcontracted through Jacobs.
Yeah, that was in the past.
They were helping because we didn't have the expertise we needed. And so they were helping us through that contract and just temporarily till we could get a bid out on the street and see what we could get.
Okay.
This is for 3 years and we do have some optional renewals. So Brian, you think in the next 3 to 5 years we'll be ready to take this in-house?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we have the 3 years and then we can evaluate at that time. Good question. Any other questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Perfect. Thank you, Rob. Can I get a second?
Stephen Datt, second.
Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 2, starting with Rob Zamatero,
Approve.
Stephen Bax,
Approved.
Joe Arfano,
Approved.
Laura Dutton,
Approved.
and Todd Skinner.
Approved.
Slow on the
Need a
mute
word?
button, sorry y'all.
All right. We wish you were sitting here with us. Award number 3 is an invitation for bid. This was for electrical conduit for JEA inventory stock. Our recommended awardees are Annixter Inc. in the amount of $1,070,241.50. And then the Electric Supply Inc. is, the award amount is $15,205.07. This is a 1-year award with 2 1-year optional renewals. We received 3 bids and ended up with the 2 suppliers. What we did was we looked at just the low bid on items, and so we had Annixter that was low bid on 47 items, and then Electric Supply was low bidder on 18. And then I'll just note, and there's quite a bit of information here, the previous contract was awarded to Gresco and Annixter, and that was bid out in 2016 as an ITN. And we are just now, we've extended it, or it was probably a 5-year award because it's expiring in August. But we decided to do a 1-year award for this contract due to just the price and the lead time volatility in our current market. And so a lot of these items use PVC, which is the base is the resin, and we are, just as a note, Annixter reported almost a 400% increase in resin PVC pricing from June 1st of last year to June 1st of this year. So we're seeing the volatility just due to, just strong economic growth of everything that's been going on over the past couple of years, numerous hurricanes in the Gulf, which impacts our manufacturing facilities, and then the freeze in Texas are just some, to name a few. Some of our OEM pipe vendors are still under force majeure today and have been for some time. So we thought it was best to just do a 1-year award, and we'll revisit the market. Even with just doing a 1-year, we're going to see almost a 50% increase in price. So, and our lead times have gone out from 8 weeks to 12 weeks. So, we're seeing the impacts pretty dramatically on this one. And then we are going to allow for quarterly price adjustments based on PVC pricing by using the CDI index for chemical data index, which is where that one will fall.
Good job on that to the team.
Yeah, thanks. It's the best we can do right now. But we need these clearly. Any other comments or questions?
I did have a question on the, this is Stephen Dax, on the budget estimate. You're showing, $1 million, the award over $1 million. So that's like a 92% increase?
So the budget estimate, and Kenny, you can speak to this, or Jessica, I believe it's based off of what our current pricing is from an inventory perspective at the time when we go out to bid. Okay. So we'll look at what we're paying and we kind of estimate it based off of that, but this is an inventory account, so it actually doesn't hit any of our capital projects until they pull it from
Yeah.
inventory and it charges to the capital projects then.
Okay.
So it's really we're just guessing at the time of the market. Okay, this is what we're paying now, so we're estimating that it'll cost this, but not really sure. Lori, if you want to chime in on how the budget side of this works, I think it might be helpful for everyone to understand that.
So when it comes to inventory blankets, we do look at what projects would be using it. Sometimes the inventory is such that it's 5 or less, then we would go look and verify that there's budget. And for this particular one, we did look and it could hit various, but primarily it hits the, what is it called? One project, and it's a program for new electric services, and its budget is 12 to 13 million a year. So it can clearly cover the inventory here. So it is a judgment call depending on how many projects it's hitting. Does that answer your question?
It does, yeah, just to educate the committee on the inventory accounts. I mean, it's really, they're checking on the back end from a capital side, but with this price increase, I mean, they had to do some due diligence just to make sure that it was gonna be covered, but we don't, I mean, really for the budget estimate, we really don't know what to put there because they're really, it just depends on what you bid and what you get, and then if it's budgeted by the capital side, so. That really could be an NA, but
Yeah.
We like to at least put something down there, and maybe we reword that to not say budget estimate. We say,
That would be my suggestion.
you know,
It just causes confusion.
right.
Hey,
So we'll
Jenny.
think about- Yeah.
Jenny, this is Jessica Keeler. Just to kind of give you some background on that budget estimate for inventory, what we'll do is we'll take the estimated units that we're anticipating on buying over this contract, and we'll either compare it to the current pricing on the contract as well as like the system average price. So that's where that budget estimate comes from. I think in this particular award, the pricing has increased significantly compared to the values available to us just for estimates, because even with going out in the market, only a few items we had purchased under these inflated prices compared to all of the items that are covered underneath this agreement. So that will factor into that number as well.
Okay.
But historically, it's just what do we anticipate on buying, what is our current pricing, and then that's where we find that number.
Okay, great. Thank you, guys. Any questions or comments? Any other questions or comments? Okay. All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 3.
Joe Orfano, so moved.
Thank you, Joe. Can you get a second?
Laura Dutton, second.
Thanks, Laura. Did you see me look to you for approval?
Felt like it might be my turn.
Try to spread it out where I can. It's much easier to do that when you're in person, like.
Just
Come on.
Yeah, your chair even swivels.
I know. Okay, so we'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 3, starting with Joe Arfano,
Approved.
Laura Dutton,
Approved.
Todd Skinner,
Approved.
Stephen Datz,
Approved.
and Rob Lamatera.
Approved.
All right, award number 4. This was an invitation to negotiate. This is our pole line hardware material for our inventory. We have about 583 items. They consist of equipment materials to maintain, repair, and replace distribution infrastructure. I'm not going to read through all of them, but we've got cables, we've got bolts, nuts, washers, that kind of stuff. Our recommended awardees are Stuart C. Irby in the amount of $2,068,749.50. Annixter is in the amount of $3,974,520.35. Cresco Supply is $483,680.49, and then we've got Tri-State, which is $206,464.52. This is also a 1-year award, and we had originally bid this out as 5 years, and due to just conversations with the bidders during the ITN process and the market and everything that similar to what was going on with our last award. We reduced it to a 1-year award. And so we did receive 4 responses. All 4 of them are getting a piece of this, 100% is price. We broke this up into 3 different tabs. So we've got a vital and storm tab 1, and then another 1, 2, and kind of grouped similar items together for each of those groupings. And then a third was where that wasn't as critical. We kind of put everything else and we cherry picked those for the low price. So on tabs 1 and 2, the vendor had to bid all items and it was low bid on all, just the lowest bid overall. So Annixter was the lowest bid for tab 1, 163 items, and that is where most of their award is coming up, the money for that. Stewart Irby was the lowest for 68 items on the vitals and storm 2 categories. So both of those will have a single supplier managing what we need them to manage from that tab specifically, and we kind of coordinate together. And then the low price, the lowest unit price on our cherry pick tab had about 352 items, and each of them got a little bit of each. So Annixter, 78 of those items, Grisco, 117, Tri-State Supply, 61, and Stewart Irby got 77. So we're seeing about a 20% increase in price here, so not quite as large as the other. We are going to allow them to adjust annually. It's only 1 year, but we put that in there because that's just part of the adjustments. But then also, and then I think we do have some renewals on here that we can utilize. Yeah, 2 renewals. But we've also allowed them to do something similar to one of the other awards we brought a couple of weeks ago. So we're going to allow them to adjust costs more frequently, more frequent than the CPI annual adjustment, if they can show us a manufacturer direct pass-through price increase. So they'd have to show us back up. So if the market really spikes and they're in a really horrible situation, they can just pass through. They won't be able to mark it up or profit from it. But that'll also help JEA because when the prices go down, we can adjust down. So we're finding that right now, this is kind of where the market is, and allowing them to come to us when they can show proof that things are out of control, like the resin, almost 400% increase. So we do see a total cost increase of about 1.3 million, and during our BAFO, we had one company come down about 65,000, and so we had somewhat of a cost avoidance, cost savings there, but still the 20%. Do you guys have any questions or comments on that one? I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 4.
Todd Skinner, so moved.
So moved.
Thank you, Todd.
I try every time, y'all.
Laura, did you second? I'm sorry, we were laughing.
Yeah, I'll second.
Laura Dutton was a second. Todd was our motion, and I will roll call through the committee to approve award number 4, starting with Todd Skinner.
Approved.
Laura Dutton.
Approved.
Stephen Datz.
Approved.
Rob Salvatero.
Approved.
And Joe Arfano.
Approved.
Thank you. This was so lovely. It was so nice to be.
See what happens when you come?
I know. My cup is full. Clearly, I'm a people person, and I need this. Is there any other business to come before the awards committee? Anyone on the WebEx? All right, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a safe Thursday and a safe weekend. We'll see you next week.